All right, there's the next episode of True Wrestling Fan Discussions continuing our retro pay-per-view review series. This is going to be WCW Bash at the Beach 1995. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Frank. Man, let's get it. Another first for WCW on the beach, literally.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually cool to do something different where they're actually on the beach, outdoors.
It was. I wonder how it is that they were like bought tickets because you notice nobody had any
Oh, no, it was
seats. They were
free.
standing.
No, it was free. Yeah.
Oh my own.
They said that people were camping out like the night before.
I believe it because I mean, if you look at the card, it's not half bad. Great main event, supposedly, and they had a pretty good crowd. There was like 9,500 on hand for this. I love when Shivani said Bobby, I bet you never seen anything like this. And I'm like, Tony, you don't remember WrestleMania 3? I mean, come on. I know you're trying to sell it up, but it's less than 10,000 fans here. I mean, come
Well, it
on.
was on the beach, though. It's a different environment.
It wasn't a bad thing to do. Huntington Beach, California. I like the concept of it. WCW was wacky enough to try things like this for the first time. Obviously, when they did Raw Hog Wild at Sturgis
On
with all the
Sturgis, yeah.
motorcycles and
Mhm.
stuff, it was the first that they did that was pretty good. I liked it. Everybody there with the motorcycles and stuff. So you had Tony Schiavone and Bobby Heenan doing the commentary. Prior to this, you had three matches on the main event. Um, Pretty fast matches at that. Quickest match, the longest match was 3 minutes 27 seconds. Johnny B. Bad defeated Chris Canyon. Road Warrior Hart defeated Mark Starr, and a match that would be crucial to this night in the tag team match. It was Dick Slater and Bunkhouse Buck defeating Marcus Bagwell and Alex Wright. Because this would give Buck and Slater the opportunity to face the winner of the tag team title match later on tonight.
On the
So
Also on the show, on that pre-show, that was the actual first time that Paul White, the Big Show, the Giant, actually
whatever you want to call them.
actually spoke, and that's when he threw the shirt at Hogan. This is my, the insinuation is that it's Andre the Giant's T-shirt, and he throws it at Hogan.
Yep.
So just a little
But they
note.
still don't know his name yet.
Yeah,
But it's getting there. At first I liked the concept of doing Andre's son, but then
no, I never liked it. I never liked it.
I I gave it a chance because this is around the time I'm really now starting to watch both,
Yeah, I
Nitro
was
and
watching too.
and
Once
Raw.
Hogan got there, I was checking on WCW all the
Yeah,
time.
because
Hogan
once
brought me
Hogan
in there.
comes, who else is going to be showing up? And so when they did this, I'm like, okay, I can see this, but how far can you take it? And then by the time
The
they got to this, I was like, nah, they already shit the
the
bed with this one.
Dungeon of Doom.
Oh my God. We'll get to that in a minute
Yeah.
too. Our opening match could have very well been questionable to be even the main event. I think it should have been later on in the night, but I've always said you got to start off with a impact match and finish with one as well. So this one definitely delivered. For the United States Championship, it was Sting versus Ming.
Yeah, I completely forgot about this fight. I forgot that Sting fought. He defended the title against Ming on a pay-per-view.
Yeah, because he had the feud going with him.
Yeah,
As
yeah.
I mean, as crappy it is as it is for Sting, it helps Ming a little bit, but they didn't do anything with Ming. And
No,
the best part is they gave us a video package to show how much of a destroyer he is, and we already knew this. It's like he doesn't need to be sold at this
well, he
point.
joins. He
People
joins the
know.
Dungeon of Doom. So
Oh, that was his problem. You know, under the career of things not to do, joining the Dungeon of Doom is one of them. But in any event, you had what was cool also in this match. You had the Baywatch camera crew was at ringside because they were filming a future episode of Baywatch. Obviously, Bash at the Beach would be part of that. It's funny how the ring announcer says that Sting is the star of Thunder in Paradise, and I'm like, well, hold the phone here. You got the right guy.
well, he was on Thunder in Paradise
Well, he
though,
was, but he's not
but
the
he was not the star.
star.
Yeah,
But anyway, um, this matchup was pretty good. It was one of the rare times you actually enjoy a Ming fight in this one. I think the only other time I enjoyed it is when he fought Chris Benoit. Um, and then of course, later on when he's in the hardcore division, if you want to call that hardcore. Um, I like the fact that when Sting went for the Stinger splash, Ming gives him a boot right in the face, so he's gonna miss a couple of teeth there. I think he really connected with that. I was like, whoops, somebody hurt him there. After missing a big boot by Ming, Sting rolled him up for the pin, and that's how you get the victory. That to me was the only cheesy part of the match.
Yeah.
Man, I think at this point they probably had to tell him to cut it.
Yeah, they were just like,
honest,
we
this
gotta go.
This was the longest match of the night.
Yeah.
This opening match. Everything else was 13 minutes and less. And this ran 15 and a half. So I think maybe they were told, hey, you need to cut it.
Wrap it up.
Yeah, you guys are doing great, but get out of here. But after the match, Hawk comes down to aid Sting, and he's staring down Ming. Those two guys are fixing to have a huge clash coming up. No Animal around here, by the way. So our next segment was Mean Gene interviewing Jimmy Hart and Wish List Warrior. Oh, I'm sorry. He goes by another name. The Renegade.
The Renegade. Oh, Lord Jesus.
What did Bischoff think we were? Stupid back then?
At least he got a TV title.
I mean, I can't really find any acceptance with this guy. I mean, I really try with every wrestler, but just him.
Jimmy Hart has programmed me. It was bad, man. This was bad.
It
was bad. Yeah.
And to make it worse, he's defending the TV title against a guy that should have left the year before in Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
Yeah.
I mean, he still looked good.
Yeah, but it's noticeable that one arm is bigger than the other one because of the atrophy, because of the neck injury.
Yeah.
You can see. And he becomes a booker right after this. Not a booker, I'm sorry. Road agent.
Road scout, yeah.
Because remember, I'm kind of jumping ahead.
Yeah.
He gets into that fight with Vader, and that's why Vader gets fired.
Yeah.
It's not too long after this, a few months.
And again, not to jump ahead again, but this is the night that Vader kind of went fan favorite.
Yes.
Babyface.
Yes.
And we wouldn't get to see too much of that anymore, unfortunately.
Fired. See ya.
Yeah, it goes to WWE where nobody would work with him.
Yeah.
But in any event, how bad was this when Renegade gives Orndorff not one but two bad drop kicks? He starts off with both feet in the air, but hits him with one boot. Not once, but twice. That's bad. And then, of course, Renegade, it's a back suplex and a pin. Okay.
Orndorff's shoulder was up, too.
Yes, it was. I know, I'm a little slow. I'm sorry. Yeah, not only did he put up one shoulder, but if you notice, the other one was up, too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hello, referee. And even Bobby Heenan caught it.
Right.
So, again, if this was storyline or they botched it,
I don't know. It's WCW. The thing is, it's WCW.
Where the big boys screw up.
So it's like, it could be a botch. I don't know. But then Arn Anderson whooped his ass after the match, though.
Yeah, this match was botchamania.
Yeah.
After the match, Orndorff pile draw. What was it?
The Renegade. Pile draw. I can't. No, I know you want to forget. Nah, you'd rather.
I really do. I really do.
But did you notice how they were booing the Renegade? They were booing the Renegade
because they know what they are. What they're seeing here. They're seeing a bootleg Ultimate Warrior.
Right, yeah.
And the fact that he's doing all the stuff that Warrior does. The fact that he's teaming with Hogan.
Not to get sidetracked, but I remember the rumors that it was going to be Warrior, and they kind of showed it was before this, obviously a couple months before that Hogan was bringing him in, Jimmy Hart, and they showed like a silhouette, and then I think what did Hogan say? It was the ultimate surprise or something like that.
Yeah,
ultimate partner. I forgot the exact term.
Something like that.
And then when it was the Renegade, I couldn't explain to you how disappointed I was. I was like, this is crap.
I think I turned off the TV.
Yeah,
because if the Ultimate Warrior would have shown up at this point, Monday Nitro as it's launching in 2 months from this, the numbers would have skyrocketed if you got the Ultimate Warrior.
They couldn't. Warrior wasn't going to go there.
No, I don't blame him. Hell,
not at that point.
I wish he never went back in 1998, to be honest. But it is what it is. But this match was pure garbage. The ending, Renegade couldn't even sell the pile driver of Orndorff and cross bodies him over the thing. I mean, this was just pure crapola. So. Like the next match is any better. The next video segment was showing how Kamala came to be in the Dungeon of Doom, and how Sullivan saw what was his name, the Almighty there, the All Seer, whatever the hell you want
Yeah, whatever the hell his name. I forgot his name. It's gonna escape me right now. But
the guy that needs lotion severely.
yeah, the
Uh,
Dungeon of Doom was just man. It's a guilty pleasure though, because it's so bad that it's good. Like it's comical to watch this. As part of me enjoys watching the Dungeon of Doom
a
because it's
little
so
bit.
ridiculous. And that was Kevin Sullivan. Kevin Sullivan was doing that because he said, we had to do that for Hogan. We wanted to have all the monsters versus Hogan, whatever else. Yeah, I'll tell you a funny thing about this. Is kind of I'm gonna sidetrack a little bit. You know
That's
how
fine.
Kamala slaps his belly?
Yeah.
So I had a friend. This is a true story. We're in a nightclub in Queens, and
Oh,
my
Lord.
friend is drunk out of his mind. For
Oh
some
no.
reason, he takes his shirt off in front of two girls. So
Was he
he's
a
trying
big
to,
guy?
yeah, and he starts
Oh
slapping
God.
his belly in the middle of the dance floor. He's slapping his belly like Kamala. Now I
Was he
never
talking
asked
like
him.
him too?
No, I was loud. I couldn't really hear.
Oh, okay.
So I never asked him whether he was a Kamala fan or not. But he shortly after that happened, he was escorted out of the club by security.
I
And then
don't
he
blame him.
and then he doesn't remember. He doesn't even remember that happening. But I just figure I would mention that because whenever I
Did you
see
get it? Did
Kamala,
you
I
get it
think
on camera?
no, no, no. I
Oh
was
man.
just shocked. I was just like shocked when it happened.
Well, people
Like,
will do the weirdest things under the influence.
anyway,
I don't
anyway,
know.
moving on,
I've
moving on.
never seen anybody mimic Kamala before,
Yeah,
but hey, you never know. There might be a fan of him.
yeah.
So following that, Mean Gene interviewed Hacksaw Jim Duggan, who's says something about tired of being a nice guy or whatnot, and whatever. It doesn't matter with Duggan. So our next match is Hacksaw Jim Duggan versus the Ugandan giant Kamala,
Hmm.
and boy, man, the matches that we're getting at WCW. I mean, Duggan hits his finisher, but obviously the ref was distracted by Sullivan. And then when he gets distracted again, here comes the Zodiac
Zodiac. Yeah.
hitting Duggan with
Oh
the
Lord.
headpiece that
Oh Lord.
Kamala wears, and Kamala gets the victory. Like Kamala needed that to win. I mean, I don't know. I think by this point Kamala was past his prime
You
as
think?
far as wrestling goes. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, I think it was
he
about.
was predominantly an '80s wrestler. He had
Yeah, he
two
was.
stints in WWE. Coming here, obviously you need a paycheck, but I don't know. I just to me it didn't fit into the whole thing. I don't know. There was just something
He
about
fit in
it.
the dungeon though. He fit in the dungeon.
That he did, but he
But you
just
but you kind of felt like, what is this guy doing here? Like it's
really.
yeah.
And then of course they go and change Avalanche to Shark, and you wind up getting Loch Ness, the
Oh Lord
Yeti,
Jesus.
Ultimate Solution, and all this other non. By that point, it's becoming a circus. And I've said this 1,000 times, even though we're not
Is he
covering it. When
gangsta?
Z Gangster, let's not forget that one. When you have a 2-on-8 match and the two men win,
Hogan and Watchman just destroyed everybody.
Somebody better start checking who's booking this crap.
It was Kevin Sullivan.
So he books himself with the biggest monsters to lose. I love it. But a 2-on-8
It was to
match. Think
appease
about it.
Hogan. He said it was to appease Hogan. All right. We'll
Like
do a dungeon.
Kissing Hogan's ass. What the
The
hell is
dungeon episode
this?
is coming. The dungeon episode is coming.
Want to do it live? Why
Down
not?
the pipeline. Yeah. It's down the pipeline.
Down the pipeline. Put it in the notes. We got plenty of others coming before them. So the next segment was Mean Gene is interviewing Randy Savage, who tonight would be facing Ric Flair in a lifeguard match. No, don't get excited. It's a lumberjack
It was a
match.
lumberjack match. Yeah, I
But
know.
because they're on the beach, it's a lifeguard match. Where were the lifeguards?
They
The
showed them.
six women that came down, yeah, they
They
came
did
down,
show
but they were
them.
sitting, far in the corner
Yeah.
while we had actual lumberjacks around the ring. So, okay, we had a lumberjack match. Let's call it
Fine.
what it is here. Whatever. In any event, um, the next match on the card was Diamond Dallas Page versus Dave Sullivan, old Evad.
Evad, yeah. Yeah.
Oh boy, here we go again.
No stinker.
Little kid gave and it's no fault of Page's, by the way. It's who they're booking him against. Little kid gives the Diamond Doll flowers. Of course, Page is over there hitting her with it or whatnot. He's abusive to the Diamond Doll, yelling at her and whatnot. Sullivan went for his pile driver, but got distracted by old Max Muscle over there, who's at ringside with Page. Page hits him with the diamond cutter and gets the pin. Very short match. I believe no
Thank
point
God.
to being on the card.
Thank God.
Yeah, seriously, because again, no fault of Page's. It's who you booked them against. So Diamond Dallas Page gets the victory over Evad. Following this, now Mean Gene interviewed Harlem Heat and at that time in Harlem Heat, a gorgeous Sister Sherry. She fit in that
Yeah,
perfectly.
Sherry was awesome with that.
I think it was right
The
around the
veteran.
time that she came in that I started really. Harlem Heat became my favorite tag team in WCW because everything just clicked when she went with
Oh
them.
yeah, absolutely. Yep.
And they're interviewing them because the next match on the card is a triangle match or a triple threat match, whatever you want to call it. It's the Harlem Heat defending the tag titles against the 1995 rivals, the Nasty Boys, and the newcomers to the feud, the Blue Bloods, Robert Eaton
Hmm.
and William Regal, or Steven Regal. What I'm sorry. And so, because the last pay per view, the Blue Bloods came down eyeballing the match between the Nasties and the Harlem Heat, so obviously they're getting involved in this. And once again, this match didn't disappoint and even had a very, very funny ending to it.
I found it a little weird, the match. I didn't think that it was like a normal because you had a tag. Like, why would you ever tag out?
If you're having a
Why would
triple
you?
threat tag match, why weren't at least
What?
one member of each team in the ring at the same time?
That's what I'm saying. But why would you ever tag out? You want to win the titles.
A match like this, the champion doesn't need to be pinned to lose their titles.
But why would you ever tag out? You want to win the title.
Well, that's where in the match, if you go into the corner, they're forced tagging themselves into the match, which makes it more interesting. Because several times Regal had to do that, to tag out. Which Stevie Ray was in there. They were doing a lot of stuff like that. But normally, in a triple threat tag team match, one member of every team is in the ring at all times.
Right. That makes sense.
But they didn't do that here.
WCW.
This was the kind of they would also remember triple threat match were unheard of until WCW was starting them, and of course WCW adapted the idea. Yeah. So this was one of the first times we see this here, and the match didn't disappoint. The coin toss disappointed when they had to do it twice to find out that the Nasties and Harlem Heat would start. Now here's where it got interesting. Booker T was back body dropped on top of Regal. And so he was on top of him. Sags then gets on top of both of them.
Yeah, he sat on him, right?
Yeah, the referee counts to 3. Harlem Heat won the match.
Right, yeah.
Technically because Booker T was on top of Regal.
Booker T was on Regal.
Now, here's the funny thing. He was on top of him for 10 seconds before that. Referee never counted a single thing until Sags sat on them. And you see Booker kind of put his shoulder up just in case. And they deem Harlem Heat the winners. This was a bogus ending to a good match. But where are we?
WCW.
WCW. So I thought another good match shot to hell with the ending. So in any event, after the match, Mean Gene interviewed Harlem Heat and Sherry on their victory and informed them that Bunkhouse Buck and Dirty Dick Slater won earlier on the main event, so that they would be in line for a tag title match. And she told them, get ready, including Robert Parker. Of course, this is where that whole storyline would come into play, where he's infatuated with Sherry and all blah, blah, blah. Moving on. Next match on the card, before that, Mean Gene interviewed Ric Flair. And this match was a result of the month prior when Flair and Savage fought each other at the Bash. And Flair kept exiting the ring, stalling on fighting Savage. So they put the stipulation for the lifeguards, lumberjacks, to be around the ring. Now, when they said lifeguards, I thought we were going to have the whole cast of Baywatch out there or something.
That's what I thought. That would have been actually pretty cool, but I guess
it would have. See David Hasselhoff deck somebody.
The only guy I recognized was Chokichi. I think was the guy's name, David Chokichi, the blonde guy.
I think so. It's been so long since I watched it. Last time I watched anything Baywatch was the movie that The Rock did.
I think it was Chokichi. Oh, I never watched the remake, but
it was good.
I think it was. Everybody else was like an extra. Like it wasn't.
Yeah, I didn't recognize any of them.
It wasn't the main cast, but
no, I definitely wasn't seeing. What's her name there?
Yasmin. It was Yasmin Bleak.
Yasmin and Pamela Anderson.
Pamela Anderson. Well, yeah, who go for Pamela?
Well, exactly. Yeah.
I like Erica Elenick. People forget about her. She was the original. She was the original on Baywatch. If you ever see Under Siege, and if you haven't seen Under Siege, watch it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Under Siege was a very underrated movie, man.
This is Seagal's best. Well, Alpha Justice, between Alpha Justice and that one, and just
Alpha Justice was his best one.
Well, that's because it's where we're from. The whole movie is everywhere that we grew up, so you can't go wrong with Alpha Justice.
Anybody see Richie?
Yeah. Oh Jesus.
I give you all day. Bobby Lupo.
Yeah. Oh Jesus. No, it's a great movie.
Yep.
But this is more of Macho Man beating up Ric Flair. Like this is the
Yeah,
same thing. Like he's jobbing out to Hogan, Flair's jobbing out to Hogan, and jobbing out to Macho Man. That's all he's doing.
it's it. And I mean, the upside to this, you had Angelo Poffo was standing amongst the crowd, t-shirt off, ripped as he was.
Oh,
And some of the lumberjacks that you had out there, you had Diamond Dallas Page, Dave Sullivan, Arn Anderson, Bunkhouse Buck, uh, Canyon was one of them. Dirty Dick Slater, you had Harlem Heat, Nasty Boys, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and Johnny B. Bad. There's a few others out there. I didn't recognize them, but they didn't really mention their names. I just
no.
was looking at them like, oh, okay, cool. So, I mean, yeah, what like you said, this is Flair jobbing to another
Yeah, I'm saying.
WWE wrestler that's come over. Um, I didn't like how Flair was treated
No, they treated him like garbage.
from this point on.
From the
Yes, they
time
did.
Hogan got there. From the time Hogan got there in
Mhm.
'94. It
And
was all
there was an
downfall.
article just recently came out that Bobby Heenan had done an interview about a year after they closed. He said that was the worst 6 years of his life going there. And it said, and I quote, "If I could have taken the less money, I would have taken the less money
Mm.
and stayed how I known how bad this was going to be."
Wow. That's
And
not good.
Flair's thing on it, he was glad when the doors closed.
Yeah.
But yeah, they treat they treated him like garbage. I didn't agree with it. The man was a main event icon before they show up, and they put him in a mid card status. Once these guys get there, he's pretty much forgotten about. And then when the NWO gets there, they're pretty.
Mm.
All he's there is to get an ass whooping week in and week out. You put him in a feud with Six for Christ's sakes. I mean,
It was
what are we
bad. It
doing
was bad. It was a
here?
bad time for Flair.
I'm surprised he didn't ask to leave. I really am. If he hated it so much, why didn't he try to opt out or leave or
Well, they
something?
tried
Unless
to.
Vince wasn't
They
interested.
they suspended him. That was a whole fiasco. I don't know. I guess he was
I
getting
remember
paid a
that
lot.
about
He
the
was getting paid
whole
a lot.
wrestling thing.
But yeah, I mean, we could be here
I don't know,
forever on
man.
Flair, but
We'll be
it's
exactly
yeah,
one another episode for another time.
yeah.
So obviously Flair made a run for it during the match. The Lumberjacks got him. They were beating him down. They beat Savage down. Typical
Mhm.
Lumberjack match. Arn Anderson gets involved and DDT Savage, and Heenan was shocked because usually when Anderson DDTs somebody, you're not getting
That's
up.
it. Yeah, they're out.
Savage got up, had his run, got his energy back, hits the elbow. To me, it looked like this was one of the highest elbow drops he ever did. Like the altitude he got on this one was more than most. Just well, maybe that's just the way the camera
It was the
had
wind.
it
I don't
angled.
know. It was the
Maybe it was the
wind and the
wind. I don't
beach.
know.
Yeah.
But Savage with the elbow drop gets the pin on Flair.
So you
And
go.
the other thing about this feud is this went on for like almost 2 years between these two.
Yeah.
Oh, kind of like the Hogan Flair feud. It was just they overran it.
They're trying to recapture
And
1992 WWF, I guess. I don't know.
yeah, good luck with that. You're not gonna. That's not happening.
Not here.
Not no. So the next segment on there was a video package showing how Vader's Roadkill tour.
Yeah.
Like we needed to see how impressive he was destroying people. Of course, then Mean Gene interviewing Vader, and then interviewing Hulk Hogan, Jimmy Hart, and Dennis
And
Rodman. And
Rod the Bod.
I like the little smart aleck comment he made. Oh, last time I saw you, you were taking a plane from Detroit. I ain't never going to Detroit. Yeah. Well, at this point, he was now a Spur.
He was about to leave to the Bulls, I believe.
Yeah.
He was right because 95, 96 he joins the Bulls, so it's got to be right before he got traded.
Yeah. And then the rest is history with that
Yeah.
franchise.
You saw he got a little too excited though, and he like grabbed Hogan's mouth, and Hogan's like, "Calm down, big fella." Like what? Because Hogan was in the middle of talking when he did it.
Yeah. It's the adrenaline rush, man.
He doesn't know
Rodman's enjoying it, man.
Rod the Bod. This is before he was Rodzilla.
Yeah, because and then remember, he only does this when he's bored.
Yeah.
My man Hogan's got this locked down. I just come and give him a little cheer and stuff, but I do this when I'm bored.
It's funny because
He
later on
actually
he
could have
joins
pursued
NWO.
wrestling and done a really good job, I think.
Yeah. Rodman was
I
a
think
great athlete.
him and Karl Malone, they had the ability. It would have been cool to see Rodman in a few more matches. But Rodman is going to get involved in this match, and this is for the WCW title. Hulk Hogan defending against Vader in a steel cage, and this match was okay. I
But
mean, I'm not going to say it was
I
awesome.
mean, it wasn't terrible. It wasn't terrible, but it's
Oh,
like
no, no, it wasn't terrible.
the thing with Vader is that Vader was just getting his ass kicked by Hogan. This whole like, what I mean by that, he keeps losing. Like
Yes.
Vader was such a monster heel, but Hogan didn't want to do business. Hogan never wanted to put him over. Vader was trying to
Well,
get Hogan
why couldn't one
at
time
least
Vader beat him for
put
the
me over
title?
once, put me over once, and then I'll return the favor. So it's like Vader was believable, and Hogan did at times do a good job selling Vader as a heel,
Sometimes.
especially at Super Brawl. But
Yeah.
um, yeah, and I think Vader gets hurt this match. I think he messes his shoulder up. I think he does get injured this match. I forget exactly what happens to him because of course he gets fired a couple months later.
Yeah, when it was just getting
So
interesting.
but this match you could pin or you can go over, right?
And I don't understand them putting that stipulation in steel cage matches at all. If you're doing a steel cage match,
Right.
then there should be one win and one win only.
Yeah.
Over the top or out through the door.
Mhm.
No, why? If we're doing pinfall submission, then why are we doing this in a cage? Except just having a weapon around all four
Yeah.
corners.
I
I don't
don't know.
understand it.
The match was okay though, but who does I know
Sullivan and Zodiac
yes, and
came
Robin
down to try to interfere, and Rodman
Robin
got the chair.
he fights him off.
He throws Zodiac into the chair
Mhm.
and then into the steel cage, and then grabs it, and then the two of them run like a couple of
Mhm.
bitches. And then, of course, Hogan is, getting rammed into the cage, and he's no selling that now, which is ridiculous. Of course, he's selling the I'm going to slam him the first time I can't, the second
Right.
time I do. Vader did hit a second turnbuckle splash. He got no pin. That's when the Hulk hulked
Yeah.
up.
He hurt himself too. There's a spot where he jumps off the rope and
Yeah.
Hogan moves and he lands on his back.
Yes.
He looked like he hurt himself. At first, I rewound it because I was like, "Did he slip? Like, what happened there?" But no.
There was
No, he
it
jumped.
also could it have been when they were both on the top of the cage, and then he for whatever reason, I don't think Hogan hit him. I think he slipped off the rope and fell to the floor awkwardly.
Maybe that's when he hurt his shoulder. Maybe
Quite possibly,
that might have
because
been
they
it.
even said that Hogan hit him,
It might have been
it's not really clear on what happened that he slipped off the rope, and because Hogan goes for two leg drops, decides I'm not going to pin him, tries to go over, Vader stops him and then
Right.
falls, and then Hogan jumps over the cage, and he's
Hogan
declared the
wins.
winner.
Yeah, Hogan wins.
And just when Shivani and Heenan think the night is over
Mhm.
and they're about to go off air, Flair gets in the ring
Mhm.
and starts acting like a buffoon.
Starts
How dare you?
berating him,
You didn't end Hulkamania, blah, blah, blah. And then Arn Anderson eventually comes down, and the worst, Flair spits at him. And Vader grabs Flair. Arn Anderson comes down. Vader fought them off. And then Vader's now acting like the babyface. You got into my business the last time. And the fans were actually cheering what he was doing to Flair. And this would have been interesting to see. But like you said,
Yeah.
he's going to be fired soon.
He was supposed to be on Hogan's team for
War Games.
War Games of that year. You can see there's still pictures and promo material. And he was supposed to be on Nitro, but he got canned because he got into that fight with
the inaugural Nitro. He was supposed to be.
He was supposed to be there. Orndorff. Orndorff was a road agent at that point. He already was working backstage, and then they got supposedly Orndorff kicked his ass in sandals too. He was like in sandals and he kicked his ass.
Oh man.
Vader says that he didn't really get his ass kicked, but I don't know.
I want to believe Vader.
I think, yeah, I would like to in my heart because I like Vader.
To.
But I've listened to multiple interviews from multiple people, and I think Orndorff got the best of him in sandals.
Damn.
So take that for what it's worth.
Rest in peace, brothers.
Another great WCW pay-per-view.
Wasn't bad.
Yeah, it was all right.
We've seen
the
worse.
star powers. That's true.
And the next one we do is going to be a classic in its own, the Hostile Takeover match and the NWO.
Yep.
So.
All right. Well, that's our review. Please tell us what you think. Please like, comment, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys soon.
Take care.